Hey, how's everybody doing? Good morning, good evening, good night, whatever time you're watching this. In this video, I'll be doing a top-down analysis on the crypto market and what I'm looking at the mid view and possibly some bear market lows or just my overall thesis on the market. Top-down analysis will be USDT, Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and then I have a few altcoins at the end. Which, disclaimer on the altcoins, I won't be going as depth, but I will be still giving a good amount of analysis and technicals on why price will go here or there or why this is my target, pretty much. All right, let's get started. All right, first things first is USDT, but before we continue this video, I'll be only using structure-based trading. I'm not going to be using too many EMAs or other confluences. I'm gathering this thesis strictly just using structure analysis, okay? And if you know me, I am mostly a structure trader. A lot of my thesis and confirmations is based off just market structure, no other indicator. But all right, let's get into it. So this is USDT on a monthly time frame, but let's zoom out to the yearly and see what the structure is looking like. I already have it marked out here. So obviously, just without even doing the line, you can see this is a year high, a year low. Okay, zoom in on the monthly time frame. Here is, we had the macro breaker structure here and for sure confirmation flip here. So since we confirmed flipped here and this was our low, we did have accumulation model down here, tap 1, tap 2, tap 3. So from this high to this low, the fib pull, we are currently rejecting off the bearish fib. I've noticed a lot of times, at least with the fib pulls, I didn't really use them too much. When I was trading traditional assets like Forex and stuff like that, I've came to realize they work really good for crypto. I don't know why that is, but for crypto, they have more weight, in my opinion. But anyways, so we are currently in a bearish fib, indicating that this could be the high to go low. But to confirm me personally, these fib pulls on whatever time frame I'm using, this means if this truly confirms, then that means we're gonna come and take out 3.7%. Obviously, I'm not saying that. We have a long way to go, but we could at least confirm that there's gonna be a big reaction here where we might get a rally down, maybe a little like drop down and come back up. That's pretty much what I'm anticipating. For the most part, until price action develops more, then I might change it. But overall, this is pretty much what I'm seeing. So we are in a critical area, as in this is best off the fibs. This is an area where we are going to reject off, at least get a decent pullback, as in aka the rally on crypto. But I want to put something to you guys' attention when we zoom out to the 6-month time frame, and I do this 6-month structure right here. So one thing how I would confirm a fib is not valid no more, or I'm not using it no more. So for example, let me zoom out to the monthly time frame to kind of give you a better visualization what I mean. So okay, so this is kind of what I mean when a fib is no longer, or when I'm looking for a fib. So obviously right here we had a breaker structure, just so you guys could see it better. We had not breaker structure continuation. We made a new high. This was a new, let's say this here is not visible. This was the previous all-time high. We swept it. So now this would be the new high. This was the previous low and we swept it. So this would be the new low. So in this current, without seeing all this would be the new swing high and the new swing low. So if I'm going to use the fib, if we are still going to follow bullish trend, because we are technically bullish trend, that means the bullish fib should hold. And we wait till we go there. We don't get multiple candle closes. Sometimes we do get a full candle close. When I use the fib, I let like a few candles to close under, like 1 or 2, or if I see a third one, yeah, for sure this zone is gonna end, because sometimes we close underneath, we consolidate for like 1 or 2 candles, and then we move out of here. And once we take out this high again, once we close above this high, then this fib did its job. So I would take this off. Pretty much, if you see the bounce out of here, your target would be the swing high, okay? And do the same thing over here. We went up, down. This was the most recent low before we made this new high. So then I would take the fib from down here, because remember, this fib doesn't matter no more because we already completed it after we broke out of here. The most recent low is here. Go up to this high. As you can see, after this high was made, when we're back down here, we didn't completely what you call it, break above. So once we start getting underneath here, and then that's when it will confirm that we are no more in a bullish trend and now we are bearish. Of course, we broke bullish, but since we are now bearish here, that's why now the new swing high, swing low will be, if the bearish sentiment now is still intact, then this area should cause a rejection or at least a consolidation before moving lower. Okay. But again, on the 6-month time frame, when we look at it at the 6-month, we are in a bullish pull. To confirm this fib has been completely validated or completed, we need to take these highs again. So that's why we still have a possibility to go to the highs. Right now, currently, I don't know what happened there. I just glitched out. Right now, currently, I am bearish locally. Overall, higher time frame, I am bullish, right? I am anticipating a pullback on USDT, but overall, I still see the possibility before we make that Bitcoin lower low, we're gonna take out this high to complete this, and then maybe we get a manipulation and go down, and that's when the real bull market starts. Remember, it's gonna take time. All right. Now zooming into the monthly time frame. This is our monthly low, monthly high. We have an order block here, so there's a possibility if we do reject out of here, we could go as deep as 5% to 4%. If we go down like that, kind of in a straight line, like barely any consolidation down here, if we don't close underneath these two lines, if we go down here and get an SFP, yeah, we're going straight to the highs, which I don't think that's going to happen, but this is just telling you there's a clear target to look if we are building swing, like investing longs here, because there's a possibility on the crypto market. A lot of people are anticipating Bitcoin to go to 90k area. I do see the possibility going to 110. If we go to 110 and then we reject, we'll most likely be down here. But anyways, this is the monthly. Now we are zoomed in on the weekly time frame. So as you can see on the structure, we are seeing what? Boom, boom, continuation. But right here, we're getting a M formation. So hopefully we get that break a structure right here. The retrace continuation, and then maybe W formation and get out of here. But we haven't confirmed that yet. And this is where I'm putting the weight of this M formation, because it's inside that yearly bearish Fibonacci zone. So there should be a big reaction out of here, and a M formation plus a breakout structure. The target will obviously be the most recent low, which would be 5.7, but I will for sure guarantee you we're going to 6.5 to 6% if we close underneath these lows. Okay, but we have an M formation, breakout structure, strong price action pattern, I guess you could say, to validate the idea we're going straight to these lows. Okay, once we get here, then we will see what happens when price reaches this level, and maybe this might be the low to go to the all-time highs. So in this internal move down on the weekly time frame, what is happening? So we had this was our most recent high. We actually SFP'd it. We got a wick and we broke structure. So since we broke structure, the target will be this low. Obviously, we got underneath this order block, which confirms that we are for sure going to tap this low. If we tap this low, we get W. And this is, if then statements. But since based off the market context and where we are with the yearly bear fib, SFP down here again is not going to work. I believe we're just going to break out of here and go lower. I don't think this little order block down here is going to do any work. Okay. But and also another thing, this accumulation model failed. So after we made that big new high, macro high, we had drop 1, drop 2, and then drop 3, right? And it was a break of structure. Okay, so to validate this was a proper accumulation, the target would be the most recent high, which was this, and we didn't even get there. Instead, what we got was another drop, which created a PO3. But if this was a proper PO3, let me show you. It created a PO3 like this. Range, manipulation, and continuation. As you can see, it didn't even go and take out this high. So now this is not a valid PO3. Two bullish patterns that should theoretically move USDT higher, aka Bitcoin bearish. But it didn't happen. We just barely swept up these highs and left the liquidity up here, pretty much indicating this accumulation was not enough to give the fuel to go higher, pretty much. So that's what's validating me that if we get underneath here, well, we are going to get underneath here. We are for sure going to 6.5%. Right now, I have more conviction. I have more conviction. We are going to 6.5% than to go to the high of 9%. Okay. All right. Zooming into the 4-hour. Obviously, this is the move up on the daily time frame, and this was the internal structure. I had this 4-hour swing flip. This would have confirmed me that we are not gonna, this order block right here, the supply zone, because if this was proper supply, then this would get enough juice to take the high, pretty much a rise, retrace, continuation, okay? But this failed, right? And on the internal structure, this was the flip zone. This was pretty much my validation. But when we got down here, when we zoom in on the 4-hour, we had a SFP, pretty much, let me see, let me hide that. We had a wick. We wicked it out. We had a 1 tap, 2 tap, a wick, 3 tap accumulation, and then a quick manipulation to go higher, creating another PO3 that didn't work out. And that rejected really strongly to go down and completely destroy the supply, because we had a bunch of wicks here. This was the first confirm of this 4-hour flip, because remember, to confirm we need a full body close, okay? This was actually, I think when you zoom in, yes, this was actually a wick also. It barely even tapped it. Wick, you see? So this was technically now the real low. We finally got that break of structure fully confirmed on the lower time frame, confirming this flip zone. As in now, I could say on the daily time frame, this break of structure is valid, and we are for sure going lower to the 7%. Okay. So let's go back to the 4-hour. So now what happened? We had that. We quickly moved up and quickly rejected down, break of structure, and took out that low and went into this order block. So one thing too that I want you guys to keep in mind, whenever you're in this position, and even though we get the strong move down, and then you're just like, okay, well, what would be the reason to go lower? And pretty much how I anticipate structure to fail, because if this was the proper structure, then this should have went lower and tapped it. But if we go back here, then you might flip bullish, but we have an unmitigated zone. So let's say there's like this flip right here. If this was to fail, what is the next zone that it's going to mitigate? Is down here. Okay, so that's kind of how when we got up here and we rejected down lower so aggressively, this was the obvious buy zone, the obvious next area of interest. Okay. But overall, locally where we are right now, when we zoom in, we did get that break of structure to the upside. So internally, we are still on a downtrend, but currently in the mid time frame, as in like the day trading time frame, we are in a bullish trend, meaning the crypto market's gonna have this pullback. So start looking for them buys. Obviously, this area will be the next area of interest, but as you can see here, we have equal highs. When we zoom in, this sweep higher never took this high. All right, so my thesis on USDT, pretty much all of the crypto market I'm about to go over, is that we have one more rally up to those equal highs. If you get that SFP break of structure, long whatever crypto you're interested in, not financial advice, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm talking as if I'm talking to myself. And yeah, 8% is my validation. The reason why is because we have a lot of those liquidity above and those equal highs on the daily time frame. And if the thesis that I've been saying for the last 2 months, if you've been following me, of we're gonna get that rally first before the lower low, we can't get above 8% again. Then it completely just puts more weight to the bears currently right now that are anticipating that lower low first. So yeah, that's my thesis overall on USDT. So now let's go over to Bitcoin. We start the yearly time frame, and I know we're very zoomed out, but anyways, the reason why I'm showing you the daily time frame, because we are in an uptrend, and technically going based off structure trading, we won't invalidate this uptrend until we close underneath 15k Bitcoin. Am I saying we're gonna go down there? No, but yeah, I'm just giving you the perspective. We could go pretty low based off price action, and we could still be in a bullish trend on the zoomed out structurally wise. Okay, so on the monthly time frame, course, we had that confirmed break of structure. We start filling some of this order block in to the downside, pretty much validating the idea that we're gonna get a another lower high to go lower, possibly to fill this order block. Maybe we might get SFP here, or we're gonna come down to fill this last supply zone that hasn't been mitigated yet. Damn. Or go back to this last zone that has not been mitigated yet. I think this has more likely, if there's going to be a deeper bull market, not a shallow one, because I do see a possibility of us, depending how the year plays out and what happens, and nobody can predict this far in the future, period. If we come down here, I could see us actually accumulating here again and getting out of here and not touching the zone, because I feel like a lot of people are eyeing the zone also. When you zoom in right here, you can see a W formation. That'll be a breakout structure, retrace, continuation. We're seeing a W formation at the lows, and if you know anything about my structure patterns, you're always going to see W's at the lows and M's at the highs. And then once we break out of the lows, then you're looking for the continuation pattern, like right here. Drop, retrace, continuation. Okay? Going based off just the W formation and the break out of here, you could safely target 97K. Okay? We are now zoomed in on the daily time frame with the weekly structure. So currently, right now at this moment, we had a SFP of this high. So technically we swept this high. To confirm the SFP, we need to close underneath 70.48K, okay? So if you're buying longs here, you know, then I guess this would be your validation low, but I'm not gonna get into longs here, okay? But we have one more zone that has been not mitigated yet, okay? This order block right here, this down candle, this has not been tapped into. If we tapped into here, pretty much if we had this candle close into this order block and then swept this high, and then we come down and close underneath that new low, then I would completely validate the idea of this is the high right here. We're gonna make a new low. And the reason why, even if we close underneath here daily, I won't see this as like, okay, we're done, let's start going short. It's because we have an unfilled order block here. So pretty much what I'm anticipating, the reason why this breakout structure will fail and will be a fake out is because we haven't filled this order block. And the bottom, the low of this down move, because remember it's the move down before the move up, is at around 67.7. So pretty much, just to make it simple, at 67K. Because we could easily fill most of this order block, do a accumulation here, and then go higher, and it will still follow the same logic of supply and demand, pretty much. To put more emphasis on my idea of 67, is my land and sand, is because if we zoom in, right, and we get the internal structure, what happened? Right here, we had a accumulation model, which is a 3-tap. And there's 2 accumulation models I look at. It's either 1 tap lower, 2 tap, 3 tap, pretty much making lower low, lower low, lower low, and then we break out of here. Or it looks like 1 tap lower, and then on the 3rd tap it could be higher, creating kind of like a rounded bottom. Okay, and right here, before we broke structure and attacking this high, and we swept this high, which technically completed this accumulation model. What do we see down here? After we broke this low, 1st tap, 2nd tap, lower low, 3rd tap, breakout structure here, target the range high, which we already now targeted, so now it's completed. This accumulation did the work that it was supposed to do, okay? Which is always, once you see an accumulation model, breakout structure, your target is the range high, it already completed its move, pretty much what I'm saying. So if it's not gonna do a retrace continuation, we have this unmitigated zone. Right here, we had the breakout structure right here, but we had we took this high, created this low, so this is the most recent low after breaking structure internally here to create this new high. We have this unmitigated zone, so even if we close down here and we start going into this area, if we get a SFP of this, I am longing the fuck out of Bitcoin, okay? Any daily closes here, look at all these rounded lows. These are ugly lows. We have a lot of liquidity down here. We have equal lows down here. And if we get all the way down here, there's no reason why we're not gonna fill more of this wick, period. It's just, and that's kind of what I mean, like structurally speaking, it just doesn't make any sense to go down that low unless that we're gonna continue that move down, okay? So pretty much, if I was looking at Bitcoin right now, it's hard to make a decision, and this is where I'll do my 2020-2040 method, because Bitcoin can easily, it's just consolidate here and continue higher. And let's say you're like me and I can't like wait or watch it to see what it actually does, because we have a new order block here. So we can easily, Bitcoin can pretty much move out of here. Oh, wrong tool. Bitcoin could move out of here, or it could go all the way down here into this order block, or it could go all the way down here and then get out of here. So there's 3 entries pretty much right now here, or filling the rest of this order block. And this is where I would suggest that if you look into my course, if you go into my YouTube channel, go down to my very first video, trading course. I know it's kind of an ugly video, but I go over the 2020-2040 method at the entry model and risk management. So just click there and then you will get more idea of what I'm talking about. But anyways, going back, so this is where I would do, if I'm doing that 20-20-40 method, 20-20-20-40 method model. If I was going to do that right now, I would do my first 20% here, next 20% in this order block, last 20% here, and see how price reacts. If once you get the confirmation, maybe you get the confirmation here, as in you get the break of structure here, then I will add the next 20. But let's say we come all the way down here and we get that last leg in the sand, right? We sweep it, SFP, then that's why I'll add the last. Camera died. Okay, but anyways, what I was saying is, if we get the last sweep down, we see the accumulation, break of structure, then that's why I'll add the last 40%. And one thing I want you guys to know about the 40%, like I always say, do not add the last 40 until it's confirmed. Once you see the clear, we're above here, and you haven't added any rest of the position left, then you add the last 40. Do not add the last 40 unless you're sure it's done exactly what you wanted to do. So if you're a visual learner, the 3 longs I'm looking at is right here, right now, actually. Along right now, along in this order block right here, and along around the midpoint of this filling point to the 67.6K, right? This would be the last 3 areas to look for swing longs to the 97K, pretty much. Now moving to Solana, obviously this is the monthly time frame, but this is the year structure. We actually had an SFP of the year, an SFP on the yearly structure time frame. Okay, but internally we did break structure, so technically, since we broke structure internally in this year SFP, then the target would be $8, which me personally, I don't think we're gonna go to $8. Maybe $30 to $40. Goes that deep, then down. But anyways, the good news is that's from the complete low to complete high. We are in the bull fib, and it is kind of respecting it. We did close it right underneath it, and also we had the rest of this order block filled, the last order block creating that all-time high. We filled it all the way. So pretty much this is a really good zone for me personally. If we start closing underneath this fib, then yeah, then likely this last order block down here from $31 to $14 is a possibility. Hopefully we just fill the 50% from this range down to here. So hopefully we just go from here to like the $44 range and then go higher to be like a fake out or manipulation. But yeah, we are in a very strong support zone, which is like, I think Solana might push much harder to the upside than obviously Bitcoin or ETH. But when we look at the monthly time frame, we had a break of structure here, obviously, so targeting these lows. We took this low, but we SFP this low. This was the last low before we made the all-time high, so it's a very important low. But this is another thing that I want to keep to your attention. This could be a giant accumulation. So after we broke, because remember, this was the low before we made a new all-time high. So if we're going on the macro time frame, this is actually the most recent low, okay? And after we made this new high, an accumulation doesn't have to take the low, but what you can see before it does is a higher time frame accumulation model. So if this was the new high, we had drop 1, SFP, drop 2. It wasn't an SFP, but it was a full break of structure. But maybe on the third drop, this is taking out this low. making this accumulation model to go higher, to possibly, if it's a proper accumulation, and that means the target is $250. Do I think it's going that high? I don't know. I am anticipating we're going to take these equals to highs you see right here on the, what time frame again? On the monthly time frame. You can see these equal highs right here at 150. That, I mean, from here to 150, what, that's a, I mean, that's an 80% move. Like, but this is very interesting to me. Okay, I'm still fairly new to the accumulation models and what's valid or not. I'm still testing it out, but it has been working decently in my favor. And then when we zoom into the weekly time frame, it's the same thing as Bitcoin. As you can see, we have a clear W formation. So if we break out of this high at $97, then we could safely say we're going to at least to 120. At least to 120, to this order block here. Hopefully it's just a retrace to continue higher, or we manipulate and then continue lower. But if we break out of this high, I can safely say we're going to 120. But one thing I want to bring to you guys' attention is that Solana is actually doing on the weekly time frame a cycle pattern, and we are currently in level 3, putting the more weight that there's going to be a big rally incoming. If you don't know what the cycle pattern is, if you go back into my course, and if you go to the, where is it? To the market patterns, I go over what a cycle pattern is. And if you go over to my Twitter or X, whatever it is, I have actually a cycle pattern chart that I'm doing for Bitcoin. And let me just show you the first ones. I think it was one of my first posts. So let me just scroll all the way down. Right here. This is the cycle pattern. Pretty much we have an M formation. It goes both ways. Pretty much we have an M formation, level 1, level 2. On level 3, we get a W. Level 1, level 2, level 3, we get an M, and we just repeat it. So that's pretty much what I'm saying for on Solana. So how does it look like, or how am I validating this right now on the weekly time frame? If you can see right here, we have M formation, break, retrace level 1, break, retrace level 2, break, retrace. We are now on level 3 to possibly make that W formation and repeat the pattern. This was your M formation. After we close under these lows, this was our level 1. Remember, it's not going to always look picture perfect, okay? Things don't look picture perfect in any pattern. Level 1, level 2, and now possibly now making level 3, W formation, and break out of here to hopefully take out these highs again. So now when we're zooming on the daily time frame, the structure, this was the flip, the most recent low that made it the most recent high. So we got underneath here, underneath this low at this time when this high and this low was created, then this would break structure and confirm we're going lower. We have a lot of liquidity down underneath, so it's a valid thing to look at. Once we got here, what happened? We had an SFP, we had 1 tap, 2 tap, 3 tap, 3 taps to the low, accumulation, broke structure, and now we did sweep this high. So it did technically in the short term do its targeted move. But right now, this is the most recent low. So this would, if we break structure underneath here, then you would target the low of the range, which would be at 76. And here's the thing. We could, even if we fail this accumulation, I could see us doing one more SFP down here. If we come down here, for Solana, it looks much clearer for me. Remember, you have to think about what can invalidate the structure. Why would this accumulation model not happen? What do we see to the left? We had 1 tap, 2 tap, and we get an SFP down here, it would just be a huge accumulation model. And I believe if we get a huge accumulation model now, and we break out of 87K, if we do see something like this, if we come down here and we sweep this low, making a giant accumulation model, and then we close above this 87K, for sure we are breaking out of this order block, for sure going above to 128 to this area right here. I can bet my left nutsack on that. Now when we zoom in at the 4-hour time frame, of course right now currently at the time being, we SFP this high and we broke structure right here. We broke structure right here. So now the target of this would be the most recent low. So obviously now we're coming down to the daily low of 81. We have a order block down here at This would be our order block. We have an order block here where we could look for a bounce, or we have one down here. So pretty much the 3 longs I'm looking at would be these 3 right here. Remember, going with the invalidation of this would be the last zone. If we get underneath there, remember, all this is going based off the TA and the structure of the USDT, okay? If USDT takes its equal highs and going to 8%, I could see down here, this as being that sweep, right? So if we get down here, pretty much we have a long right here in this zone. Like I said, if you do the 20-20, 20-40 method, you could enter wherever. You could put your first 20 here. If we get underneath here, another 20, 20, and then save your last 40 for that last sweep. But we have a long here, long in this area, and one last long here. If we get this sweep and that higher term accumulation, I will be buying a lot personally with Solana. But obviously, if we come again and take out these highs, yes, we are coming to the range high on 87, $97. If we come back and close above $87 again, if we tap here and we come back up here, yeah, we're just gonna continue doing this until here. And once we get to this zone and we get a information, then possibly we come down to fill these order blocks. Okay. All right, now doing Ethereum, same thing, tomato, zooming on the yearly time frame. What happened? We had a sweep of the highs. We had an SFP. To confirm this SFP, now we're moving down lower. We got to close underneath $880. I don't think on the yearly time frame we could get down to $800. If we get a whole yearly candle close underneath 880, yeah, bruh, ETH is cooked because the next area is $75. I think crypto is just done there. I feel like it's going to zero, and it's not what everybody thought it was going to be, right? But if we get a wick on the yearly time frame, long the fuck out of it, because the next area would be the all-time high, pretty much. So let's zoom in. Let's see what's going on. And you know how my whole thesis right now is to Bitcoin to make that higher low to make a lower low, then that's when I think we're gonna get that scenario. Like I said, we're gonna actually go down to $88, because if we look down here, this is very ugly liquidity right here. Even on the monthly time frame, this is very ugly, and we already filled some of this order block right here. We already filled the last order block to get mitigated. If we close underneath this low again, yeah, I could see us just taking the rest of this liquidity, and hopefully if we see this, just like on Solana, if we see a W formation down here and a breaker structure, oh brother, I am selling my organs, I'm selling whatever the fuck I can, and I'm going long on ETH, 100x long, to whatever exchange gives me the highest leverage. I'm putting my whole life savings in that shit. Not financial advice, that's what I'm gonna do. Mind you, this is gonna take a while to play out, but always have that in the back of your mind, okay? And when we look at the weekly time frame, almost whenever like Bitcoin, Solana, ETH usually look similar on the lower time frames. Same thing's going on here. As you can see, we're getting a W formation to break out of here. If we get that, if we close above, just so you guys get a actual correct number, another weekly close above 23.86, we're for sure going to the high of 3.4K. I could confidently say that, because we do have an unmitigated order block right here. Also right here we have an unmitigated block right here, so it only makes sense that we would come here, fill it before making that lower low, or we fill it to fail it and then come and to attack these highs. And same thing on ETH, like Solana, we are seeing a cycle pattern. We are seeing M formation, break, retrace, level 1, break, retrace, level 2, and then now we are in level 3, creating that W formation. And let's see if we repeat the same thing back here, create an M and continue back down. Do I think it's going that high? I don't know, but I hope you're seeing what I'm kind of putting down right now. But if we get that confirmed break of structure, yeah, we are for sure on ETH going to 3.4K, my opinion. Okay, of course, zooming into the daily time frame to invalidate my idea we're going higher is 2K. Because we don't get underneath 2K again, then we are still good to go to 3.4K. So right here we had a break. This was the first confirmed break of structure to the upside from going on a downtrend. Of course, you have internal breaks here, but this was macroly or swing structure that confirmed to the upside. So we had that higher, we had that new high, we made that higher low because we did have that higher low. So obviously if we come down here again, close underneath, we're obviously going to come down to these lows, and I don't think we're going to SFP this low in my opinion. But anyways, so we SFP these highs again. So now our invalidation or our confirm of this SFP, because remember, whenever an SFP, what it's supposed to do, it's a swing failure pattern. So what it is telling you is that this failed to continue the swing pattern, which is what? Rise, higher low, higher high. It failed to make a higher high. So now to confirm that this is a failed higher high, then we got to start closing underneath this low to confirm a real break of structure. And how I kind of internally confirm it before, because obviously waiting down here, then the move is over, is the most recent internal low. So that's when I zoom into the 4 hour and I see what is my structure on the 4 hour. What is going on here? Our most recent low to confirm that we might start reaching down to the range low is what? Let's see. We had boom, boom, boom. Well, really this down here. This would be our low that we need to stay above. If we close underneath this low, then I could safely say now we are going to start targeting the range low. Right? But just like in everything in life, nothing works 100%. Just because we might get that close underneath doesn't mean it's guaranteed we're going down there. Okay? These systems, every system in the world does not work at 100%, right? Because we could, and this is why, based on the context of USDT, we are in that yearly zone fib where there has to be a strong reaction. Remember, going based off, and this is why I built it. Look, watch. Let me get serious with y'all right now. This is why I built a thesis, because not every system works 100%. Yeah, there's been many times where if you do fair value gaps or whatever train style you do, everything is perfect by the books, but it might fail. And then when I go back and I do the research on why in this current time and place it failed, it's usually a concept of overextension. We are overextended on the 50 EMA, mean reversion, or interest rates. So there's something going on macroly that you need to pay attention to that might have caused that pattern to fail. Because remember, price doesn't move because the pattern is there, right? So yeah, I'm pretty much saying that to say that the reason why, even if we break underneath there, I'm not going to be like, yep, we're going to range low, is because of the thesis I made on USDT and the thesis I've been having for the last 2 months, that we are first going to make that rally up higher. And of course, as the weeks progress, I am changing my validation. As more price action progresses, I change my validation. Once I have an idea, I'm not like, yeah, this is my invalidation level, because as more price develops, it changes. And then you could probably get out much sooner than just being like, this is my level. Do you get what I mean? I hope you're kind of understanding where I'm going. I'm always updating my thesis. Overall, it's still the same, but as it's going, my confirmations and when I add is always changing as history is developing. Because at the end of the day, guys, we are gambling. We are in a game of speculation, and things change just like that, okay? And just because you speculated on something a long time ago doesn't mean it's going to be the correct speculation in 2 months from now. Something new is going to happen. Like, nobody thought that we were going to go to Iran war. You know, like, that's something you just can't really, speculate accurately on. I hope that makes sense. But anyways, even though, like I said, this is technically the low we need to stay above to continue higher, we still have internally right here, view, break, retrace, right here, retrace, continuation. As you can see, we have a low right here, but reality, the real low is this, around 2K. So this would be the last zone to look for a W formation and get out of here. If we get underneath here, we do have an unmitigated order block, and that's why I'm anticipating maybe an SFP again. But I do not want to get back underneath 1,913. Damn, I cannot talk. What the hell? Okay, so the areas I'll be looking for longs, of course we had the breaker structure we're pulling back, is this order block right here to these lows. If we get an SFP of this low, this would be a long for sure. And if we get that breaker structure, get the fuck in for sure to target at least this range high. But of course I'm anticipating a bigger rally, so these would be swings actually. We have one unmitigated order block right here, another buy zone. God damn it, guys. Another buy zone right here. And a possible unmitigated block that could be the last fill at that 2,000 mark. All these equal lows too. We have a bunch of equal lows right here. Last possible long will be in this block. In this block right here. Now, if I'm be honest, if we don't get out of here, if we close underneath this low, like I said, yeah, ETH is likely going to take its lower low. But again, just because we're getting close, because all these look different, you know, Bitcoin, ETH, Solana don't always move the same volatility at the same time. So Bitcoin could crash really deeply and ETH could just slowly stay consolidating in this range. But anyways, these are the three areas I'm looking for the last swing longs for my thesis. All right, so before we get into the altcoins, yeah, most of all three, Bitcoin, Solana, ETH, are making that W formation breaker structure. Solana and ETH are doing that cycle pattern. They're going to complete the cycle pattern, which gives more weight of a rally incoming. And again, my overall long term with USDT is that we are going to make a higher low to go lower. I do believe there's a possibility that Bitcoin can surpass 97K and flip everybody's sentiment bullish, and then go to like 105 and then rip it down, because right now in this range in Bitcoin, nobody's really buying, you know. And if I'm a market maker and if I need to fill my buy orders, I need somebody who's selling. And you know, big players don't sell on the way down. That's not the smart thing to do. The only people that sell on the way down is retail investors like us. There's no retail buying in these ranges. So that's why I believe it makes more sense to rally to incentivize retail to start buying. So when their liquidations hit from buying at a high point underneath that low on Bitcoin, because everybody's going to put their stop loss underneath that low, there's enough juice there for the market makers to fill their buy orders. You know, there's not enough people buying here, too many sellers. So, but how can the market maker fuck us up both? Like, how can they fuck up the bears and the bulls? I believe if we go back here, this can easily happen. If we go back to Bitcoin, I think if the market makers want to fuck up everybody in the game, maybe what if they do something like this, where, you know, we break out of here. Damn it. What is going on, guys? What is going on? Where we break out of here, right? And we break out of 97K and we come fill this order block at 110, 112, and then make that low. Because I feel like once we flip this high, because it seems too obvious, because even when we look at the EMAs, like what a lot of people be seeing what a lot of people be using, because even if you look at the EMAs, this seems pretty obvious for price to come down here and then go to the 50 and then reject, and this would be like a clear perfect, like, oh, it's a lower low. But if we break with conviction up here, I think all the people that were anticipating, like, you know what, like, we are still going to make that lower low before going to all-time high, they're going to flip their bias and actually start going long, thinking that we missed the bear market lows. And I can already see, you know, that, come on guys, you know that crypto Twitter is very fragile. They're very like crazy with their emotions. I can already see it in the future right now. If we get above here, then we are for sure, everybody's going to be flipping their bias and they're going to say, forget making a lower low, we're going to all-time high, and that would be the perfect time for the market makers to do that move and fuck up all the bulls and fuck up all the bears that flip bias. All right, I had to change location. I had to go home real quick and settle something down, but now let's get into the altcoins. All right, starting with Chainlink. So the reason why I'm picking Chainlink, I mean, again, the whole reason why I'm looking for trades or picking these. All right, we are at Chainlink. So again, the whole reason why I'm even looking at these trades is because of my thesis of USDT. Always keep that in mind. This is the yearly structure. Let's zoom in on the monthly. So pretty much we're not that far off from this low, right? We've been tapping into this order block already. So there's a possibility that we could fill it fully down here, but overall the year low is pretty nearby. So a good little building position here, I mean, it's only like a 50% down. If we get obviously a SFP down here and we reclaim this low, yeah, like you could go into spot and target the highs at $30. That's a 5x, you know. But I think that's gonna be more like next cycle. Mind you, this is a monthly time frame. So now let's see on. Once you see right here on the monthly time frame, we did SFP this low, we did wick it. So now we will have to zoom in on the weekly time frame and look for a break of structure to the upside. And what do you see right here? Another W formation. So pretty much W formation, break of structure here. Now we're waiting for the retrade continuation to target at least these highs right here at, let's see, what is it, at $14. And when we zoom in at the daily time frame, as you can see, we SFP this. Let me actually make sure that we SFP'd it. Yes, we did SFP, because even when you look, wick. But as you can see, if we're not taking this as a tap, as this internal range, 1 tap, 2 tap, 3 tap. Remember, I said that accumulation models could be lower low, or lower low, and then a higher low. And this would be 1 tap, 2 tap, 3 tap, making a higher low to continuation higher. To confirm this, we need to close above $9.45, pretty much this high. And pretty much to make it very simple, my invalidation is this low right here. The $8 is pretty much my invalidation. So you could start building into, again, the 20/20/20/40 method. Let's see on the 4-hour time frame. Let's see if we see anything, maybe more of clear validation. Oh, you see we have an order block right here at $8.84 to $8.68. We have this order block that we could come, so this would be a long position right here. Let's see what the structure looks like. So we have boom. This was the last low to make this high, because we took the high right here, then we took the next high right here. It wicked it. We didn't get to this high, so now this would be technically your invalidation low. We do have a bunch of liquidity right here. Yeah, honestly, this is a really good, if we get this trade where price gets into here and we wick out this this low and create another W and go higher, good long. But if I'm gonna be honest, if I'm gonna zoom in more internally on this move higher, it looks like the last low before creating this high was right here. This would be my validation low, where I think that we're gonna take out these lows and likely go to this range low. So we'll clean that up. My next low will be, my next long potential will actually be right here at this level. Right here, obviously targeting this high, but these are going to be swing longs right here. And then my last long trade will be obviously on this low. If we get that quick move down out of here, if we get something like this, quick move down, reclaim, break a structure, back into the reclaim to target the high of this range. But I do believe if we start getting 4-hour closes underneath this low, there's no reason why we're not going to fill more of this wick, period. And this is Farcoin right now, and I'm gonna show you an example of how like you don't need to do the time frames that I do. You know how like you see on my left side on my chart, I mean on my right side of my chart, I have the monthly structure, all that. Just by using your eyes, you can see right here what is the market structure right now. So now this is our current low, current high. We had the confirmed break right here, but we are still making higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. To stop making higher lows, we need to close underneath 15 cents pretty much for a Farcoin. So this would be a current range. You see, we are now in the discount section of the range. So this is one of these trades because look, we have a lot of ugly lows. We could easily come after all this. Yeah, we have an unmitigated order block right here that we could probably get like a sniper entry, but with ugly lows like this, but we are clearly, remember, this is the retrace continuation. You know, this is a wick. Yes, it's a huge SFP, but this does not confirm until we close underneath here. And once we close underneath here, yes, guys, like, I mean, look at these ugly lows. Likely we're gonna make another low. So there'll be the invalidation. This is going with the thesis of we're gonna get the rally first, okay? And this is one of these trades where I would do the 20, 20, 20, 40 method. And right now at this very moment, at the 4-hour time frame, this is where I will put, I'm gonna get back into this. And just so you guys, you know, have the proof that I'm over here actually trading Farcoin. This is my Hyperliquid account, just so you know I'm being legit. I've been trading this. But anyways, right now is actually somewhere where I'll put my first 20% because we did touch into this order block. Or almost to, so I will actually put my 20% here, another 20% at these equal lows. We have an unmitigated block right here. So pretty much I will get into the trades I will get into will be right here. One right now. At this low into this block. And one for the SFP at the lows. The 3 areas I'm looking for a trade. Again, you could use this method, like I said, build the position. 20% get down here, 20% get down here, 20%, and save your 40 for the confirmation that we reclaim this range. So if we are wrong, at least you're only 60% in the position. So you will never lose more than you're anticipating. Keeps you in the game longer. Here's Aster on the weekly time frame, and Aster is a pretty interesting one because number one, the range to going back, if we break structure on the weekly time frame here, going back to the next high, even just here at 1.196, it's a 50% move. It's a huge move. But when we zoom in closer, let's zoom in on daily time frame, the structure is very odd. It's obviously very manipulated, but even in this internal structure, we broke structure right here. You know, we were going boom, 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 boom. We had a break right here. So now our internal structure is this, done, done, done. But this is just continuously SFP, SFP. Obviously right now, the reason why I'm picking this trade and why I'm getting into Aster, I mean, even I posted on my Twitter. Right here on my Twitter, you can see that on May 24th, I've been looking at Aster. I said 4-hour Aster chart. If that's not buying pressure, then I don't know what is, because this looks either buying pressure as manipulation, not as like people are participating, but at least you know, it's from Binance, and Binance could manipulate its coin pretty easily. And of course, on March 30th, we start getting that move out of there. I've been still in this position since then, but this is why I think Aster is a good position, because now when we look at on the 4-hour time frame, let's zoom in. Okay, what do we see on this move up? This was the last unmitigated can't talk. This was the last unmitigated block. Jesus Christ, unmitigated block. Sorry guys, I cannot talk. Was this low, and we finally tapped into it. And we still continuing. Whoa, what the fuck? We are still continuing to hold support here. So this looks pretty obvious to me. And this is why I like Aster right here, because this is probably the only trades where I say you could probably get into it now, because if we get a 4-hour close back underneath here at $62, how much more do we need to go down, right? The next logical area is at 53 to 55, this area right here, but I don't think this is gonna hold. We're gonna go straight to fill this wick. But this is the only trade so far where you could probably get into it right now as you see this. If we're still in this consolidation range, yeah, it just build what's going on in this range. Your low to your high. We are right here, right smack in the middle. It's a good place to start building a position. But this is probably the only one where you could probably get into it now, okay? But Aster said, yeah, if we break again strongly above these highs, I think even on the daily time frame, that might be the daily high. Yes, if we get another daily closure, because as you can see, this zone right here has been mostly all wicks, just taking liquidity. If we get a whole candle close above this zone, yes, we're obviously gonna come up to this high and likely break out of here and go target all the way the fuck back to this last supply zone, this macro supply, which will be a 75% move. I mean, hey, but get underneath that low, maybe pushing it to like a 10% range of risk. I mean, this is a pretty decent risk to reward. And if this fails, then you know that we're gonna come fill this wick where you could just get out and wait until we hit that low again and wait for we see accumulations, W's or whatever. Here's Hype Coin on the weekly time frame. To be honest, to me, Hype looks the clearest out of everybody. W, break, retrace, boom, break a structure here. But now Hype is about complete its third level, so I do think we're not gonna hit all-time high, but we're at least gonna hit these highs right here at $50. So for me, I'm in a Hype position. Me personally, I have a pretty bad entry. I held for all this. I did de-risk a little bit, but my original position was like at $38. I held for most of this. Since we're going back to 50, I'm probably gonna be getting out most of my position, because even when you look at it like this, let's zoom in. What do you see? Do you remember the cycle pattern? We're getting the same cycle pattern, but now to the upside. We had that W formation, rise, retrace. This is level 1. Rise, retrace. This is level 2. Now we're going into that level 3 M formation and possibly start the cycle back again the other way. Okay, so Hype, I wouldn't be going heavy long on this. Me personally, I'm getting out of my Hype. My position is on spot, obviously, because I didn't get liquidated on the way down. I'm gonna take profit of 50% and just stake the rest of the Hype, because I do believe Hype in the future, because the best case scenario is that we stay ranging from $20 to $60 pretty much. But I do see Hype as a multi-cycle coin. That's why I'll just stake it and just de-risk 50% and use that margin to buy lower, to stake more or whatever. But that's pretty much if you're already in a Hype position. Like me personally, I'm de-risking or maybe building a head short. I haven't decided if I am or not. We'll see once we get there. This is Morpho on the weekly time frame. I don't even know what Morpho is. Like, I honestly, at this point, I don't really care about most coins. Like, I don't go in deep dive of what they are, if they're AI or whatever. I just go based off the price action, the chart, how it looks like. But if you guys have gone this far in the video, then you should see what I'm seeing now, because I'm going over the market structure a lot. What do we see right here? W formation, rise, retrace. And if we're going to start the cycle pattern onto the upside, this is level 1. So technically, and when we created this level 1, we tapped into this unmitigated order block. And now let's see if we break out of here. Again, since we didn't fully fill this whole order block, then we could easily come down here and tap it again, right? So my validation for any longs here, obviously this is a pretty wide range. It's 26%, right? But again, this is why I enter with the same method, like I've always been saying, the 20-20-20-40 method. Okay, so zooming on the daily, let's see what's going on. All right. So boom, boom, boom. We had a break of structure here. This is a new high. We had a break of structure here again on the daily. You can see right here. to the upside on this leg down. So now this confirms the current low. And now we are accumulating right here, or consolidating. We got to see how price action develops more. Let's see on the lower time frames. Let's see what's going on in this range. Okay, boom. We had a distribution and it failed to distribute because right here, remember, we had a new high. Let me do the highlighter. We had 1 tap, 2 tap, 3 tap, SFP, broke structure, and right here, that was not enough juice. I mean, technically, yes, it did break structure again. So since this distribution did break structure, we had a full candle close. Then now, if we break structure to the upside again, back up above this high in the 4-hour time frame, we have equal highs right here too, SFP. Then you could easily target up to $2.24, right? But we continue down and we just do a continuation pattern down here, because this is now a continuation because we did break structure. So we are technically still, we are in a downtrend. Is there any unmitigated areas down below? Down here. Boom. This is a really nice long, because this could be now an accumulation, because remember, this was the first break out, tap 1, tap 2, and then if price comes down here again, it will be a model accumulation. It will be a model 1 accumulation. Tap 3 and then get out of here. Okay. But right now it's not a bad area to go long either. So if you were looking at this right now and price is still in its similar area, then we did tap into this order block. Let's see if we're going to break structure to the upside. If this order block holds and we break structure, then you could safely say we're coming to these highs and going to that high. So right here will be a decent long. This order block below, and then a SFP to fill the rest of this. Let me see how, I think this was the low. Let me zoom out again. No, I think it was on the daily time frame. Yes, daily time frame. Oh no, it was that. Which time frame? Oh, it was on the 5-day. Sorry guys. The rest of this 5-day low order block. The last position here. If we lose this low, then likely we're gonna come fill more of this wick, and we have 2 equal lows. So yeah, I personally wouldn't think that it will be even worth it to get into this trade. If we close underneath here, I wouldn't be worth it to hold for down here, because we don't know if it's going to go lower. Again, this coin is new. I don't really know what's up. I'm just going based off the structure. But yes, pretty much the last long would be right here on the low to get another SFP, possibly. And here's another coin that I'm in, the Monero. Here's Monero on the daily time frame. I'm not going to do too much structure trading, but the reason why I am building a trade here is because this volume profile is the volume profile of its entire history since all the way down here. And we are very close to the value area high. Of course, this is a wide range, and this is why I always say 20, 20, 20, 40. Okay, I'm gonna beat it into you guys' mind. This is a, yeah, this is a wide, I mean, technically no, it's a 30% range. I will go spot here because we have the value area high from the entire history of this coin and the VWAP of the very low of the market. This very low from the most recent low that created this all-time high. There's going to be at least an aggressive move. I'm anticipating this pretty much. If we do shit the bed and we get that, if we get this move, I'm thinking about W and coming back, maybe this VWAP up here, this VWAP is going to be more like right here. We're going to come at least back to touch the VWAP from the all-time high, right? And if you start building now and start putting orders underneath, your average entry is going to be at least to the 50% of this range at 325. But right now, for this trade at least, I'm giving an example of the different type analysis, and I don't always just do structure. My whole logic between this is pretty much the volume profile and the VWAP. And that's the reason why I'm anticipating. Let me build a long here and have orders down here just in case we come down aggressively. We reclaim this low. I could target the VWAP above and just get out. Same thing for XRP. The only reason why me personally I would get into XRP right now, I don't really believe in XRP that much, but it does have its following. When the markets move, it moves too. Like, it has its cult following. But going with the idea that we're not going to feel the wick on most of these coins, meaning that we're going to get the rally first, we have a W formation. But to confirm this W, we got to close above on the weekly time frame. Let me actually go on the daily, see if we if we could find a closer validation. Yeah, I mean right here, obviously if we get a daily closer above $1.46, yeah, we're gonna come take this high, and likely if we get a closure daily above here, then we are going on that rally to at least the value area low of this up move, which is $1.83. But I could easily see us with the amount of momentum, because remember on the USDT chart we are on a yearly bearish fib. Okay, we could go to the POC, which is at $2.09. So if you start building position now, that is a decent 60% move, and the invalidation would be 6%. If you want to be like, hey, maybe we might S&P the low, it would be 18%. But I am not anticipating we are going to take these lows out. I think we're going to start hitting up higher here. So this is a pretty decent trade also to get into now. I'm not going to tell you like, actually I am telling you what to do. Sorry, my fault. It's not financial advice. I'm talking to myself, remember? But yeah. So now to Lido. I know Lido looks like shit. We are on the yearly time frame. Like, look at this, just straight the fuck down. But we did technically close 2025 with the SFP. Okay. So what do we need to find? A monthly breaker structure to the downside. We have a low, so we can consolidate here. But let's zoom in closer. On the weekly time frame, we did get a break of structure on the weekly time frame right here. Boom. Right here. Well, actually, we did SFP this high, so we gotta wait in 5 days for this weekly breaker structure to close. So if you're looking at the weekly time frame, and if you want to wait for that clear confirmation, you need to wait till the weekly time frame closes above 0.3433. If we get a weekly closure above this, then you can put your stop losses underneath these lows, which would be, what is the, let's say you get it right at the close, it's a 21% range. Okay, but let's zoom in closer on the daily. Let's see, what do we see? Jesus, sorry about that. Yeah, to be honest, I wouldn't want to get underneath these lows. And you might say, why? This move down got tapped into with this low, but this imbalance also got mitigated right here. We have multiple taps, and right here we had an accumulation, 1 tap, 2 tap, 3 tap to go higher, right? If all this accumulation, because we're even right here, we have 1 tap, 2 tap, 3 tap, now we're going higher. Accumulation here, accumulation here. If we start getting closures underneath this low at $3.37, yeah, I don't think we're gonna come for this yearly low and likely go lower. But the reason why I like about this is, like, let's say this yearly close, once we get that monthly, let's say we just consolidate here on the monthly time frame. Let's say we get something like this, we get chopped out move up, move down, and this is like up candles, down candles. Now that new monthly high, if we get, now the bull run starts, let's say, and we close above here, the next target, I mean, is at $1.63. I mean, that is a 3x, and that's not even going back to the all-time high. You know, like, it's not a bad area. This is not a bad area for me personally. I'm building leverage, but I'm contemplating if I should start buying spot, just because Lido moves aggressively with ETH. But I'm sticking with the leverage because I haven't done a lot of I'm sticking with my leverage trade because I haven't done a lot of research on the product Lido itself. I mean, there's a reason why it's down so aggressively, right? But if this is something that can get revived because it's ETH-based staking, then yeah, we could easily go to $1.63 on the bull run. On this bull run, it's an easy 2x. But yeah, going back to the daily, here's the thing: a lot of these coins, like, they're already kind of making their move to the upside, and once you see this video, the pullback has probably already happened. But as you can see here, we took the liquidity, we did SFP it. So to confirm this SFP to go to the range low, we need to close underneath that invalidation low I said. But if we get a daily closure again back above here, yes, we're going higher to 43 cents. But I guarantee, like, my final target, at least to take 75% off, is above here, right here at 40% at 53 cents. And my last TP would be right here with all these equal highs. We have 1, 2, 3 equal highs that did not even take each other. And from there, that would be, remember, 80% move. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and mind you, keep in mind, everything I'm saying and why I'm bullish and why I'm contemplating on buying these coins or getting into these coins is because of my thesis on USDT. Right now, I am still thinking we're going to go 6.5 to 6%. And right here at these very moments, there's a lot of these coins that if we're going to follow that trajectory with USDT, a solid 50% gain, 60% gain from this moment, okay? Disclaimer, not financial advice, but if you are going to get in, I recommend 20-20-20-40 method all the time. I never get into position fully on the first buy. Always build your positions, manage your risk, but even just looking at the chart on the higher time frame, looking at the risk to reward, if these new lows that got created is going to be the low, it's still a decent trade to take. Right, we are overextended to the downside and we are due for a rally, you know? But yeah, that's my thesis. That's what overall when I'm looking at the midterm, and I'm thinking this move, I'm anticipating this move to take around the next 2 months, 2-3 months, but for sure the next month, if we're going to continue with this thesis, next month is going to be an up month for everybody. And let's see what happens on, what are we, April, May close. Let's see where we are on next month. But I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you go to make sure you subscribe, make sure you go to my Twitter. Make sure you go to my Twitter. Follow it, click my link tree if you want to get to my Discord and any other of my socials. Remember, my Discord is still free. Eventually, I'm going to make it private. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys on the next one.